People thought that Ozzy Osbourne's wild days were over. They thought that his past was locked up in a house full of music and old memories. The FBI didn't come to his house for a small reason, though. They were looking for something that was hidden and that no one should have ever found. The spies came with a clear plan, but what they saw stopped them in their tracks. That shocked the FBI and will shock you too. What was hidden in Ozzy's house? Watch this movie with us to find out more. What was found in Ozzy Osbourne's house? Ozzy Osbourne has made a great deal of money over the years. The whole world knows who he is as a rock star. People say that Ozzy is worth about $220 million, 0 cents as of 2024. That number is very large. His music made most of this money. And he had a big career by himself. He was the lead singer of the heavy metal band Black Sabbath. Ozzy has sold more than 100 million records around the world, both with his band and on his own. Because of that, he made a lot of money. One of his biggest hits was the record Blizzard of Oz, which he did by himself. A huge number of people bought that record. Along with that, it had the hit song Crazy Train, which became one of Ozzy's most famous songs. But Ozzy made money in ways besides music. In the early 2000s, he and his family were the hosts of the reality TV show The Osbournes. The show was a big hit and made a lot of money. In the second season of the show, each person of the family made about $5 million, 0 cents, for a total of $20 million, 0 cents, for the whole family. Ozzfest is a music event that Ozzy made. Ozzfest took place for the first time in 1996. It made a lot of money and grew into a big event over time. Ozzfest had made more than $100 million, 0 cents, and sold more than 5 million seats by 2004. People also bought and sold clothes, toys, and souvenirs with Ozzy's name or face on them to make money. About $50 million, 0 cents, was made from these things. Ozzy was also hired by big companies like Samsung and Guitar Hero. Ozzy and Sharon bought a house with some of their money. For $10 million, 0 cents, they bought a big house in Beverly Hills. After some time, they bought another big house in Los Angeles, in a nice neighborhood called Hancock Park. It was a very old and interesting house. They fixed it up and then asked $18 million, 0 cents, to buy it. They also own a lovely house in the English woods in a place called Buckinghamshire. Sharon and Ozzy have said they want to move back to England because they don't like how things are going in the US. Ozzy likes cars too. Over the years, he's had some very valuable and quick cars. He really likes the Lamborghini Diablo, a sporty car that is very fast and looks great. He's also owned a Rolls-Royce Phantom, a very nice and old British car. One of the most popular sports cars in the world, the Ferrari F40, is another car he owns. Not only does Ozzy love cars, he also loves motorbikes. His motorcycle was made just for him, and it had a cross-shaped gas tank and a seat made of alligator skin. A Yamaha Banshee quad bike was another thing he used to ride. But in 2003, he crashed it and hurt himself really badly. Ozzy is known for getting crazy on stage, but he also likes to do quiet things for fun. He likes planting, and it calms him down. He likes to gather art, especially new art. He and Sharon really enjoy their time in the English countryside. Horror movies and TV shows like The Walking Dead are also things Ozzy likes to do. He usually dresses in black, has on leather jackets, and wears round sunglasses. His favorite foods are roast beef and shepherd's pie. He also loves animals and had a little dog named Rocky that died after 15 years. Ozzy has had health issues in the past few years, though. People told him he had Parkinson's disease, which makes it hard for him to move. In 2019, he hurt his back in a fall and had to have many surgeries on it. He said that he had what he hopes will be his last surgery in 2023. Ozzy keeps going even though these things are going wrong. He keeps himself strong, loves his family, and stays in touch with his friends. Since Ozzy Osbourne's death, there have been rumors going around online that the FBI may have found something shocking in his home. but this has not been proven by an official report. Some fans think it might have something to do with old secrets in the music business, while others think it has to do with something much more personal and surprising. Do you think that anyone really knew how much pain Ozzy was hiding behind all of his fame and money? Wait for more. Why the Prince of Darkness is the way he is. Everyone in the world knows Ozzy Osbourne as a rock star. He helped make heavy metal music and is known as the Prince of Darkness. There is a man behind the fame and loud music, though. He has been through a lot of awful things. Ozzy's life hasn't been easy at all. He grew up poor, battled pills, and later had major health problems. His birthday is December 3, 1948, and he was born in Birmingham, England. Those 6 kids lived in a small house with his parents. There wasn't even a toilet inside the house because it was so crowded. It was hard to get by, and money was tight. As a kid, Ozzy had trouble learning, like dyslexia. This made it hard for him in school, and other kids often picked on him. Some people made fun of his strong Birmingham accent. A group of kids picked on Ozzy when he was only 11 years old. It happened near his school. He was traumatized by that event for the rest of his life. He didn't tell anyone at the time, but he later said it made him feel terrible. Because he didn't want his kids to go through pain like he did, he always told them to speak up if something was wrong. By the time he was 14, Ozzy was drinking and taking drugs to deal with his bad thoughts. He said that pain and sadness were filling his mind. He tried to kill himself one night, but his dad got home in time to save him. That moment could have been the end, but he made it through. Ozzy quit school when he was 15 and worked in a slaughterhouse, a factory, and on a building site, among other places. He wasn't happy with any of his jobs. At age 17, he tried to steal clothes from a store but was caught. He spent 6 weeks in jail. Afterward, he said that being locked up with grown guys taught him he didn't want to live that kind of life. When Ozzy joined the band Black Sabbath in 1968, he was able to follow his dream. A lot of people liked the band's songs, and they became very popular. The group did have problems with using drugs and booze, though, behind the scenes. In 1979, Ozzy was fired from the band because he was acting too badly. He was upset and said other people were also taking pills. After being kicked out, Ozzy went out on his own. In 1980, he put out Blizzard of Oz, which became a big hit. Randy Rhoads, the guitarist, and he worked together a lot and became good friends. But Randy died in a plane crash in 1982 while he was on tour. Ozzy was very sad and said that moment would always be in his mind. Over the years, Ozzy had a lot of problems with drugs. He took a lot of different kinds of pills and often mixed them with drink. Over time, he found out that his body had special genes that changed how it dealt with pills. He knew the damage was real, though. He began getting better in 2006 and worked to change his life. People loved how wild his shows were, but things did go wrong sometimes. In 1986, a fan died at one of his shows. Also, people were hurt and arrested that night. It made Ozzy remember that his life was more than just music and fame. It was also sad and full of loss. Ozzy also had a lot of problems in his personal life. He told Thelma Riley, his first wife, that he was a bad husband. He lied, drank too much, and took pills. Things got worse after he got married to Sharon Osbourne. He tried to hurt her in 1989 while high on drugs. He was caught and shocked when he found out what he had done. Sharon told him that if she had a gun, she would have shot him. Ozzy kept cheating after that, too. Sharon found out when he sent her a message that was meant for someone else. She was very sad. Things were never the same after he got help, but they decided to stay together. Ozzy almost died in a quad bike crash in 2003. He hurt his bones and had to be brought back to life twice. He was asleep for 8 days. At about the same time, Sharon had cancer. Their kids also had problems with using drugs that were bad for them, but they got clean in the end. In 2020, Ozzy told everyone that he had Parkinson's virus. He had also hurt himself badly in a fall, which made the pain worse. He said it was like a flash of light hit him, and that he thought he was frozen. Ozzy said he was quitting performing in February 2023 after years of pain. It was one of the hardest things he had ever done. Ozzy Osbourne has had a lot of fame and success, but his life has also been full of pain, loss, and making it through. He is a music legend, but he also went through many hard times and is still alive to tell the tale. After all that Ozzy had been through and all the things he had lost, how did love ever come into his life, especially with Sharon? Let's find out more. The strange bond that Sharon and Ozzy have with each other. When Sharon Osbourne was 18, she met Ozzy Osbourne for the first time. At that time, Ozzy had gone to her dad's office to talk about how to manage his band, Black Sabbath. Sharon said it wasn't love at first sight. She didn't even think about love at first. She thought the band looked really strange. They didn't look like the American artists she was used to seeing, who were always dressed nicely. They were hairy and rough. It smelled good and looked and acted nice. She remembered feeling uncomfortable when they were around. She hadn't worked with artists like them before. The way they walked was very different because they were from the north of England. But on the same night, she saw Black Sabbath live for the first time, and something changed. When she and her father went to the show, she was completely shocked by what she saw. The show had a big impact on her because it was so intense and exciting. She liked it, even though it wasn't the music she usually listened to. At that point, she became interested in the band and Ozzy for the first time. When someone asked Sharon how things between her and Ozzy got serious, she said that they didn't start dating until 1980. As time went on, their friendship slowly changed from business to personal. They had worked together since 1979. She said they didn't fall in love right away, but over time, Ozzy's attitude drew her in. She found him funny and smart, but also touched by how open and fragile he seemed. She felt something special when he was funny and kind at the same time. He was the nicest and funniest man she had ever met, she said. Life wasn't easy after they got married. They had a lot of problems in their relationship from the start. One big problem was that Ozzy was married and had 2 kids at the time. Sharon said she knew why Ozzy's first wife left him after they got split. Of course, it wasn't her fault. Ozzy had a big drinking problem. His first spouse could no longer handle it. Sharon told her that she certainly would have made the same choice if she were in her place. Sharon was also having her own issues at the same time. In business, she had split up with her father. This was very bad because her dad had set up all of his businesses, tax forms, and contracts in Sharon's name. She thought it meant he trusted her. But she soon saw that she had been wrong. There were times when Sharon, not her father, was held responsible when bills or taxes were not paid. In one case, the tax police went to her house and put yellow tape around it to show how bad things were for her. She said her dad did this so he could travel the world and not have to deal with any problems. That was a very hard time for her because she had to deal with the legal and financial mess he left behind. When she met Ozzy, they didn't have anything going for them. Sharon was being sued and had a lot of debt, and Ozzy had lost everything in his split. As they began their relationship, they had nothing, no money, and a lot of bad things from their pasts. Still, even though things got rough at first, their bond kept getting stronger. They were together through good times and bad because Sharon loved Ozzy and his unique charm. After all that Ozzy Osbourne has been through, both the bad times and the fame, how did he become one of the most famous rock stars of all time? Let's find out. The story of Ozzy Osbourne's rise and crazy ride. We will never forget Ozzy Osbourne's crazy life. His life was full of music, crazy times, hard times, and fans who loved him forever. Many people know him for his long career in rock and roll. Over the years, he had both good and bad times. Just Ozzy Osbourne is all Ozzy Osbourne says about himself. He always has and always will. But that short line doesn't really show how famous he was in pop culture and music. Ozzy says he feels like he has lived 3 different lives in the past 40 years, and to be honest, he's not wrong. Ozzy didn't just become another well-known singer, he had a hand in making heavy metal sound the way it does now. Ozzy was a big part of making metal music what it is today. He had 13 solo albums, and an unforgettable stage personality. Ozzy has always loved scary stories and themes, which you can hear in his music. He once said that being able to use his love of scary movies from his childhood in a play was like a dream come true. When Ozzy bit the head off a bat on stage, it was one of the craziest things that ever happened to him. It was a real bat that he thought someone had thrown at him. Afterward, Ozzy said it was a big mistake and he had to get painful rabies shots. He looked even stranger after that crazy event and another one, where he bit off the head of a dove at a meeting of a record company. However, Ozzy said those things were not planned. He wasn't trying to get attention, he was just drunk and couldn't always think straight. Even when he was drunk or high, Ozzy was always honest about his troubles. He stated that his drug use was a big reason for many of the worst things that had happened to him. He once said, "When I'm not drunk, I don't go into CBS Records and slit the throat of a dove." He even went to the well-known Betty Ford Rehab Center, but he said he turned back to drugs afterward. He talked about how hard it was to go back to normal life after rehab. He didn't want to face the world or be around other people. Why did Sharon and Ozzy hide their personal problems from the world, even though they were famous and in love? Let's find out more. Love, loss, and the crazy man behind it all. There were times when the media made Ozzy look even crazier than he really was. Under all the news, there was a man who cared about people. He was kind even though he messed up. In 2023, he officially stopped touring. After being on the road for almost 50 years, he said he missed a lot, like seeing his kids grow up. He just wanted to spend more time with his family, now that he has grandchildren. Ozzy made a difference in more than just music. He also became famous on reality TV because of the Osbournes. Fans got to see his family up close on the show. Ozzy let people see the real him, at home with his wife Sharon and their two kids Kelly and Jack. For its time, the show was fresh and risky. That was the first time a rock star had let the world into their home like that. The show had 4 seasons and brought Ozzy to a whole new group of fans. Sharon Osbourne was always by his side no matter what. Ozzy said she wasn't just his wife, she was on his team and his partner. Another time, Sharon said it was impossible to live without him. They got through all the hard times because they loved each other and were close. They dealt with it all together, no matter what. Ozzy still says that his fans have always been the most important thing in his life. The crowd is better than any drugs, drink, sex, woman, or relationship, he once said. I've never been happier in my life. No matter how bad things got, that love kept him going. Fans would keep coming back to see him as long as he was still strong enough. Ozzy Osbourne's life was full of crazy times, tough fights, and deep love from his fans. A lot of people will always think of him as a hero, even though he only goes by the name Ozzy. What do you think about the things that were found at Ozzy Osbourne's house? Tell us what you think in the area below. Thanks for seeing this movie. We hope it was interesting for you. Remember to like and subscribe. You can watch the next movie on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity news. I'll see you there.